Welcome to this week's Movie Math, as Hollywood rung in their first weekend of the new year to the bells of cash registers. And part of it was by design, as once again a lone horror film took advantage of the brief lull in movie releases between Christmas and mid-January. Texas Chainsaw 3D opened with an impressive $23 million. The Devil Inside, The Unborn, and White Noise all used the same strategy in previous years and met with equal success. However, some horror movies have faltered, such as Season of the Witch, Daybreakers, and One Missed Call, meaning some kudos are due to the Texas Chainsaw 3D crew. It's the third flick from director John Lucenhop, who jump-started his waning career in 2010 by directing Takers, which he also wrote. See, sometimes you have to be your own goddamn fairy godmother. This is the 7th Texas Chainsaw flick, and it actually bested the debut of the previous entry, a prequel of sorts. Looks like Lionsgate made a smart move in buying back the franchise rights from Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes, who felt they'd done as much as they could do with the brand. But apparently there's still some gas left in the electric chainsaw. It's also worth noting that while Texas Chainsaw 3D is rated R, it was originally rated NC-17 for gore before being recut. Will horror movies evolve once again after Saw and Hostel to become even nastier? With a strong debut like this and the buzz around the upcoming truly disturbing Evil Dead remake, it just might. After all, in Hollywood, it's survival of the box office fittest. Speaking of gore, Quentin Tarantino's bloody epic Django Unchained demonstrated an impressive hold in its second weekend. It's been running neck and neck with Les Mis since both opened on Christmas Day, but now seems to be pulling slightly ahead. The film is without a doubt on track to surpass Inglourious Basterds as Tarantino's biggest box office hit and is already the biggest film of Jamie Foxx's career. But this is familiar box office territory for Leonardo Dicaprio, who might be a big reason why the film is doing so well. For his part, DiCaprio was most likely hoping for yet another Oscar nomination, and hopefully, damn it, a win this time. But Les Mis is hardly withering like its stars. Despite being bested by The Hobbit, which fell 45% in its fourth weekend, Les Mis is the fastest grossing musical of all time, passing the century mark in just 13 days. And certainly it will get a second wind on Thursday when a slew of Oscar noms for the flick will be announced. Now, over the holidays, some of you were not pleased when I pointed out that The Hobbit is lagging behind the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. Well, you can't argue with the numbers. As I said, the flick dropped 45% this weekend and is still about $50 million behind the Fellowship of the Ring's domestic haul and over $100 million behind Return of the Kings. It might catch up to the former, but no way the latter. Same goes on the international side as well, with The Hobbit over $200 million behind Return of the King. If on Thursday The Hobbit is largely ignored by the Oscars, don't be surprised if Warner Brothers ends up moving the release date of The Desolation of Smaug to a summer or spring release, like currently slated for There and Back Again. After all, if it's not a big awards contender, it would be smart to get out of the way of the very crowded holiday 2013 schedule, where Thor 2, Catching Fire, Disney's Frozen, Anchorman 2, Walking with Dinosaurs, and more are already set to cannibalize each other. As for the rest of the box office, all the flicks enjoy drops in the mere 30s, Lincoln even in the 20s. Lincoln is the only other real hit in the current top 10, but at least with these small drops, nobody's embarrassing themselves either. Finally, you'll notice that number 10 is Promised Land, which went semi-wide this weekend with little fanfare. Largely ignored by the awards community as well, unless it gets a screenplay Oscar nom, this is most likely it for the pick. Matt Damon will be just fine with Elysium on the horizon, but as The Office has its final season, it's looking more and more like John Krasinski won't be able to make the jump to movies. If he's smart, he'll take the hint and start looking for another hot TV project. As for this coming weekend, Gangster Squad and A Haunted House will duke it out for number 1, with Marlon Wayans tipped to win out over Ryan Gosling. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.